both know the prince certainly didn't help matters.
And neither did the princess. In the old days, we would have simply chopped off your head and been done with it. Sometimes I miss the old days.
Welcome back to Remembering the Razzies. We watched Diana, the musical.
It was not the best.
No, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst.
Yeah. This is a taped musical about the princesshood of Princess Diana, from when she first meets Prince Charles, through her dealing with being married to him and his affair with Camilla and her affair with some horse rider, and then she just very abruptly dies at the end.
I went into it not knowing anything about Diana, and I walked away knowing things about Diana.
I went into it knowing little about Diana, and I left it knowing about the same amount that I knew about Diana.
Yeah, it does seem pretty base level.
It's fine, I agree, it is long. The music I thought was fine, but I think there's way too much music. I think that they shoved a lot of story into this, which can work. You can shove a good amount of story into this. They just really missed the mark in pacing it correctly and telling the important bits. The best I can compare this to is another Princess Diana movie that came out this past year called Spencer. They confined that whole story to one weekend. I still got just as much, if not more, about Princess Diana and everything she was going through in a story of one weekend versus a musical that takes place over the course of about 20 years.
Yeah, they do cover pretty much her entire marriage up until her death. The pacing is weird. The problem is there's so many like turbulent parts of that marriage, like there's a lot of drama behind it. They don't really have enough focus on one particular aspect. By the time that they get married, Charles is already having the affair, already doesn't really like Diana, and Diana isn't super confident about marrying him either. And so by the time that we get to the climax of Act 1, their relationship is pretty much the same as when it started, where he's cheating on her and she wants to be with him, but knows that there's something off. Act 2 kind of escalates it a little bit, but beyond that, like, there's not really an escalation.
I couldn't even tell you what the point of Act 2 was, because Act 1 was definitely, here's their marriage and here's everything bad that's happening, and then Act 2 is kind of all over the place. I just think if you're gonna make a story like this, especially if you do want to go over that period of time, really focus it down more. Either focus it more on Diana's marriage, focus it more on Diana's activism, find a better focus for it, because right now it's very much like all over the place.
Yeah, I think another thing too is the plot was kind of weakened by some of the side things that were happening, some of the side characters. Like, they cut to the Queen a lot, which I know people really like the Queen, but anytime they cut to the Queen, it's like, I want to see what Diana's doing.
Yeah,
like,
and then they bring Diana's affair up at the beginning of Act 2, and that's over in like 30 minutes. But it doesn't feel necessary for what we're watching.
I don't know, because like you can't just not mention it.
I know.
Because it is a big part of their relationship. Because they're trying to cram every single event, nothing really seems significant because of that.
But besides that, I mean, it is a filmed stage performance, so there's not a lot that could have been done from a film technical standpoint, but I think the performances were fine. The writing is pretty bad, both lyrically, and I just feel like the script has no subtlety to it. Everything is very much in your face. Diana basically looks in the camera and is like, I'm not happy in this marriage. And it's like, there's nothing to that. There's a lyric about her marrying a Scorpio, and Jacob and I both groaned.
At the same time, like, I wouldn't consider this worst picture. Like, I was interested enough.
We were watching it and we both turned to each other and we were like, Space Jam was so much worse.
Space Jam was so much worse.
It's just a musical.
It's just a musical. It's I would consider this a very average musical. What was it nominated for? What did it win?
This was nominated for 9 Razzies and it won 5. Worst Screenplay, Worst Supporting Actress, Worst Actress, Worst Director, and Worst Picture. Let's start with Worst Screenplay. We touched on it a little bit. Screenplay's not very good. It's the fact that you crammed so much into a 2-hour piece, the lack of subtlety, and the attempts at humor.
It does tell her life story, it just moves through everything so fast that it's like, nothing really matters, and we know how it's going to end, so.
Yeah. Worst Supporting Actress for Judy Kaye, who played the Queen, as well as that other lady, Barbara Cartland. As the Queen,
it's pretty good,
pretty
honestly.
good. As Barbara Cartland, kind of annoying.
Yeah, could have gone without her.
I don't feel like I know exactly who she is still.
She's a romance writer who Dai idolized when she was young. Through a series of events, I think her dad married that author's daughter. Diana became her, like, step granddaughter or something like that, which is like some fun trivia, but yeah, the character itself was kind of annoying.
Super unnecessary to the story.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that she is prevalent because she has like a full song.
She does.
She does the opening Act 2 number,
and it goes on for a while.
It really does. I don't think she was a terrible actress. Like the one character kind of sucked and wasn't really needed, but like as the queen she was fine. Yeah.
Next up is Worst Actress, Gianna DeWall, who played Diana. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I felt emotionally invested in what she was doing, and like I was sold that she was a character who was like really sad and in a shitty situation.
I'm going to assume that she won this in comparison to Kristen Stewart and Spencer. You feel crushed and defeated through that whole movie because of Kristen Stewart's performance. And in this one, and I think it's because it's a musical and it has to be a little more jolly because that's how musicals are, I don't feel that sense of crushing defeat that Diana felt through a lot of that marriage.
Yeah, with as much as this musical dealt with mature themes, it did feel very Disney-fied. Even when she's like in a marriage where both parties are cheating on each other and she's like attempted suicide multiple times, like it's like still kind of upbeat and jolly.
Yeah, there's a part where she punches through a mirror and slits her wrist, and then she's just in the hospital and she's like, this is still a fun little musical, right?
I didn't realize that was a suicide attempt. One, because when she punched through, I didn't even notice it was on her wrist. Like I saw a little bit of blood on the back of her hand and I was like, oh no, she accidentally cut herself on the mirror. And then she was in the hospital and Phil like throws away a line of like, this is the 5th time you've done this. And I was like, wait, is she like killing herself?
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
And the scene is over like a minute later, and so it just kind of goes back into it. And like the whole time, I'm like, just leave him, queen. Just leave him. Not like
princess.
Oh yeah, leave him, princess.
Comparing it to Spencer again, you see Princess Diana in that movie going through the eating disorders. She does cut herself in that movie, and those are just throwaway things that are like super important to her, to Princess Diana's mental state in her life, that they're just like, oh, you don't eat very much.
Part of the problem is they very much portray her as like girl boss. Mentally, she's always in charge. She's mentally the one on top, always in the right. It's really hard to also display that type of person as someone who is going through hardship without that nuance, and this script doesn't have nuance.
There's no nuance. Now that we're discussing this, now I'm seeing why this was pretty panned.
Even after we finished watching, I'm like, oh, that was a fun musical.
Yeah, like she dies, they do one more quick song, and it's like, that was cool, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty flashy.
Yeah, they portray her almost in the same way that they portray Hamilton. We're like, when you're done with the Hamilton musical, you're like, Hamilton was a good guy. He led a good life. He died early, but like, boy, he did good things for the country, and good for him. Diana also did those things, but she was miserable the whole time while she was doing it.
And they I didn't portray it
I
at
did
all.
not get that. I didn't get it until we were talking about it. But yeah, she wasn't a bad actress. I don't like how they portrayed her, but that's the screenplay's fault. The person acting as Diana did a pretty good job.
Fine. Let's move on to Worst Director. Now this is interesting, because I'm assuming somebody separately directed the filming of this versus the director of the stage musical. Stage direction wise, fine. It was felt like a typical musical.
I don't think it was anything special in terms of choreography. Like, I didn't really notice much choreography, with the exception being the paparazzi. I think those were pretty well choreographed.
As for whoever directed the filming, it was, again, fine.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, there's only so many camera movements and things that you can do filming a stage musical.
The transitions were interesting, and there were shots that took place like on the stage, which were also interesting. I wasn't crazy about it.
It wasn't just a static shot of the stage, so I guess it's all that we could really ask for.
Okay, we want to talk about Worst Picture?
Sure, yeah.
So this was nominated against The Woman in the Window, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Karen, and Infinite. Space Jam was worse.
Yeah, Space Jam was worse.
This is the same feeling that I had when Hamilton was up for a Golden Globe. This is not a movie. Filming a stage production is a lot different than actually making a movie and making edits to it and doing all the decisions that go into making a movie. This is just filming something that's happening. I don't like the fact that this was nominated, and I really don't like the fact that it won, because it feels like a different medium that we're trying to
judge it.
compare.
Yeah. You can't compare a stage musical to a movie the same way you can't compare like a book to a movie.
The same way you can't compare talking in front of a camera about election fraud to a movie.
Yeah.
That being said, again, I didn't hate this musical.
I don't want to say I would recommend it necessarily.
Yeah.
If someone told me that they liked this musical, I wouldn't be like, what the hell? I'd be like, okay, yeah.
I guess in a roundabout way, I don't think that this should have won.
No. I mean, just based off the one movie that we've seen on there, we know that Space Jam is worse.
Yeah.
And the fact that Karen was nominated for so many things.
And didn't win any of it.
It probably is much worse. Dear Evan Hansen.
Wasn't even nominated
nominated.
for Worst Picture.
Guarantee I wouldn't like that musical. This one.
Yeah. You want to rank it?
I would love to rank it.
Let's start with Best Made. This is better than Absolute Proof. Even if they put like any effort into editing that, then it would have had a chance, because this doesn't feel like a movie either.
Yeah.
But because they edited it in a competent way, it's automatically better.
This has a narrative. What do you want?
Yeah, honestly. And then for Most Entertaining, I'm putting this above as well.
Didn't turn this one off.
Didn't turn this one off. I wasn't zoning out. I was actually following an actual plot, which is refreshing. So yeah, that's Diana.
That is Diana. Whoa, what a weird, awkward place we're in.
What are we watching next time? No clue.
No idea. What's come out this year? Morbius. We're watching Morbius.
Morbius, yeah, we're probably gonna watch Morbius. So I guess we'll see you
in a year.
In like April. Oh, one thing that we should point out, we're going to live stream and rank all 42 movies that we have watched for Worst Picture. As well as probably in the fall, maybe sometime late this year, early next year, we're going to start revisiting the Razzies.
Oh yeah, we are going to start revisiting Razzies.
Where we go back to movies that didn't win the Razzie and compare it to a movie that did. It'll be fun. We'll hopefully mix up the formula a little bit.
We're not going to keep track of like best entertainment, best all that. We're just going to compare it to what won that year. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
It's been fun catching up.
If we don't see you by the end of the year, we'll see you next year for whatever wins the next.
We'll see you. We'll see you at our live stream. We'll see you in our live stream.